Every system has a price, and right now, without realizing it, you are being priced. Not by your resume, not by your credentials, not by the hours you log or the results you deliver. You are being priced by your availability. And if you are always available, the market has already made its calculation. You are cheap. That is the signal you are broadcasting. Not competence, not commitment, cheap. The single greatest error in the modern professional landscape isn't a lack of technical skill, it's a profound and systemic misunderstanding of asset valuation. Most high performers believe that constant visibility is a proxy for commitment. They treat their presence like a utility, always on, always available, always free. But in the cold architecture of systemic wealth, the utility is a cost to be minimized, not an investment to be prized. When you respond to every notification within seconds, when you attend every non-essential meeting, and when your digital green light never turns off, you are broadcasting a devastating signal to the algorithm of the market: infinite supply. And infinite supply is the silent killer of perceived value. Think of the air you breathe. It is essential for life, yet it has zero market price because it is everywhere. Now think of a rare gas used in high-end medical surgery. It is scarce, guarded, and expensive. The gas didn't become valuable by working harder. It became valuable by being harder to access. Basic economic psychology dictates that value is a function of scarcity. If you are always there, the market stops calculating your worth and starts taking your existence for granted. You are training your environment to perceive your time as a low-cost, expendable resource. You aren't building a career, you are self-sabotaging your own brand equity. The market doesn't reward the available, it prices the irreplaceable. Why does the human brain instinctively value what it cannot easily have? This isn't just marketing, it's evolutionary biology. For millennia, the most valuable resources, clean water, rare minerals, fertile land, were the hardest to track, the rarest to find, and the most difficult to secure. That neurological wiring hasn't changed. Strategic absence triggers this ancient survival mechanism. When you intentionally reduce your visibility, you create a value vacuum. In this silence, the market, your peers, your clients, your competitors, begins to fill the void with their own projections of your importance. They assume that if you aren't visible, it's because you are engaged in high-yield activities that they don't have access to. Your silence acts as a mirror for their own insecurities about their status. You are no longer a person they interact with. You become a standard they measure themselves against. Consider the law of the boardroom. The most powerful person in the room is rarely the one doing the most talking. It is the one whose rare interventions pivot the entire strategy. Watch what happens when that person finally speaks. The room goes quiet. Pens stop moving. People lean in. That gravitational pull is not accidental. It is the compounded interest of strategic restraint. This is the psychology of status in its rawest form. If you are constantly justifying your position, you are broadcasting submission. If you are strategically absent, you are broadcasting sovereignty. You must make a fundamental decision. Stop being a participant in the conversation and start being the destination everyone is trying to reach. Which area of your professional life is currently suffering from supply inflation? Where are you too available, too visible, and too cheap? That realization is not a setback. It is your first piece of actionable data. Identify the leak. Close the valve. Watch as your perceived value begins its climb. Subscribe to MindFuse and activate the bell. We only educate those ready to move from the noise of the crowd to the silence of the boardroom. The market doesn't reward the available, it prices the irreplaceable. MindFuse out. There is a world-class scriptwriter specializing in high-retention YouTube content for premium business and self-development channels. Your writing style blends the narrative authority of a Fortune 500 keynote speaker with the psychological precision of a behavioral economist and the emotional pull of a Netflix documentary narrator. Your task is to write a fully humanized, YouTube-optimized script for the channel MindFuse, a premium brand in the space of executive presence, strategic intelligence, and professional sovereignty. There is a professional in your industry right now who is less qualified than you. They have fewer certifications, less experience, a shorter track record, and yet they are being paid more, called first, and competed for. You've seen it, you've felt it, and you couldn't explain it. Here is the explanation. They stopped being available, and the market rewarded them for it. That is not luck, that is engineering. The most dangerous professional in any room is not the loudest, it is not the most credentialed, it is the one who has engineered their absence into an asset while everyone else was busy proving they deserve to be there. While the market is flooded with available, eager, and endlessly reactive professionals, the sovereign operator understands one fundamental truth: scarcity is the only currency that never inflates. And right now, you have a choice. You can keep proving your worth through volume, or you can start commanding it through restraint. This is why premium brands like Rolex or Ferrari never flood the market. They understand that desire lives in the gap between wanting and having. Scarcity is not a limitation of their production, it is the architecture of their pricing power. By mastering the art of being strategically missing, you shift the power dynamic permanently. You stop chasing opportunities and start forcing opportunities to justify why they deserve your limited high-value attention. This is the foundation of social arbitrage, buying low on noise and selling high on impact. To implement this at a level 10, you must transform your professional interactions into valuable events. A valuable event is characterized by high impact and low frequency. In the corporate world, the difference between a mid-level manager and a CEO is not intelligence, it is the frequency of their voice. One is noise, the other is a directive that moves capital. Execution requires systemic boundary engineering. First, audit your digital footprint with ruthless precision. If you are reachable by anyone at any time via Slack, WhatsApp, or email, your moat is non-existent and your leverage is zero. You must implement gatekeepers, whether human or automated. Your communication shouldn't say, "I'm busy." It should say, "My focus is currently allocated to high-priority deliverables." This single reframe transforms your absence from a lack of effort into an optimization of resource allocation. You are no longer reacting to the world, you are dictating the terms of your engagement. This is the hallmark of executive presence, and it is learnable by anyone willing to engineer it. Second, embrace the power of the zero response. Not every inquiry deserves a reaction. In fact, most requests are boundary tests disguised as opportunities. By ignoring the trivial, you signal that your cognitive bandwidth is reserved exclusively for strategic intelligence. When you finally do speak, your words carry the weight of a gold-backed currency. You aren't just giving an opinion, you are issuing a verdict that the room has been waiting to receive. This is how you build invisible authority in real time, without a title change, without a promotion, and without anyone's permission. Silence is not empty, it is heavy with the weight of compounded potential. Think of the subscription trap. Most people subscribe to the noise of the market. They pay with their most finite asset, time, and receive nothing but distraction in return. They are the background static of the economy. You, however, are the provider of quiet capital. The most expensive commodity in any high-stakes room is the silence of the person who actually holds the answer. You are not just working, you are engineering a legacy that compounds while others are still reacting. Subscribe to MindFuse and activate the bell. We only educate those ready to move from the noise of the crowd to the silence of the boardroom. Mastery is not about doing more, it is about being more by appearing less. MindFuse, out.